There are certain vegetables that, while often considered healthy, can actually cause more harm than good for people over 60, especially when it comes to joint comfort and sustained energy. The wrong ones can quietly increase inflammation, drain your stamina, and make you feel achy or sluggish without you ever connecting the dots back to your plate. On the flip side, the right vegetables can actively help your joints move more freely, improve circulation, and give you steady, reliable energy throughout the day. Most seniors never think about vegetables in this way, but after decades of seeing patterns in how foods affect the body, I can tell you this: not all vegetables are equally good for you, and some are better left off your plate altogether if you want to feel your best. Now, this isn't about diagnosing any condition or telling you to avoid vegetables altogether. You should always work with your doctor for specific medical advice, especially if you have health conditions or are taking medications. What we're talking about today is how certain plant compounds interact with the body, particularly the aging body, and why avoiding some vegetables while adding others can make a huge difference in your comfort, mobility, and energy levels. These are simple food-based strategies that anyone can apply, and they can have a noticeable impact in a surprisingly short time. One of the big hidden issues here is how certain vegetables contain plant chemicals that can irritate joints, interfere with mineral absorption, or throw off your energy balance. When you're younger, your body can often handle these compounds without much trouble. Your digestion is stronger, your nutrient reserves are higher, and your immune system can manage the occasional irritant. But after 60, a few things change. The digestive enzyme output declines, stomach acid production drops, and your gut lining may become more sensitive. This means compounds that were once no problem can now cause noticeable effects, especially when eaten regularly. For example, certain vegetables contain alkaloids, oxalates, or lectins, plant defense chemicals that can bind minerals, irritate tissues, or trigger inflammation in sensitive individuals. You may notice this as joint stiffness that shows up more in the morning, a dull ache after certain meals, or a wave of fatigue that follows a vegetable-heavy lunch you thought was healthy. If you've ever wondered why you feel worse after eating a particular vegetable dish, you might be experiencing your body's reaction to one of these compounds. The problem is compounded by the fact that the body's repair and recovery processes slow down with age. If you irritate your joints or drain your minerals today, you don't bounce back as fast tomorrow. Over weeks and months, this adds up. Stiffness becomes chronic, energy dips become predictable, and you may feel like that's just aging. But much of it can be improved simply by being strategic about which vegetables you include and which you avoid. Inflammation is the core issue here. While some vegetables fight inflammation, others can subtly promote it in the wrong person. This isn't because those vegetables are bad in a general sense. They may be fine for someone else, but because your unique physiology, especially after 60, reacts differently. Inflammation in the joints often comes down to immune triggers, and certain vegetable compounds can act like those triggers. Think of it as pouring a little fuel on a low-grade fire. You might not notice it immediately, but it keeps the flame going. Energy is the other side of this equation. Your body's ability to maintain stable energy depends heavily on balanced blood sugar and steady nutrient supply. Vegetables that are too starchy or too high in certain anti-nutrients can spike your blood sugar or block absorption of the very minerals that help you produce energy at the cellular level. This is especially important as mitochondria, the tiny energy factories in your cells, naturally become less efficient with age. If you're already operating at a lower energy capacity, the last thing you want to do is make their job harder. The key takeaway in this stage of the conversation is that vegetables are not automatically a free pass food group for seniors. Yes, they're nutrient dense, but they also carry plant chemicals designed to protect the plant, not necessarily to benefit you. Your job is to know which ones your body tolerates well and which ones might be quietly working against you. Over time, cutting out just a few problematic vegetables and replacing them with more joint-friendly, energy-supportive options can have a noticeable impact on how you feel day to day. In a moment, we're going to get into the 3 vegetables I recommend most seniors avoid and why each of them can cause trouble for your joints and energy. but it's important to go into that list understanding the bigger picture. Your body after 60 is less forgiving of the wrong inputs and more responsive to the right ones. You don't have to overhaul your diet completely to see results. Sometimes a small, precise change in your vegetable choices is all it takes to start moving the needle in the right direction. And when you do, you might be surprised at how quickly things can shift. That morning stiffness could start easing. Afternoon slumps might not hit as hard. Your walks could feel smoother, all from adjusting what's on your plate. That's the power of aligning your food choices with your body's changing needs. And it's why this topic is so important for anyone who wants to stay active, mobile, and energized well into their later years. The first vegetable I recommend most seniors avoid is eggplant. Eggplant belongs to the nightshade family, which also includes tomatoes and peppers, but eggplant in particular is higher in a type of plant compound called alkaloids. Alkaloids can irritate joint tissues in sensitive people, leading to stiffness or pain, especially in the morning. If you already have arthritis or notice your joints ache more after certain meals, eggplant may be adding fuel to the fire. Many people don't make the connection because the effects aren't immediate. It can take a day or two of regular consumption before you notice your joints tightening up. The second one is raw kale. Now, kale can be very nutrient dense, but when eaten raw in large amounts, it contains high levels of goitrogens, compounds that can interfere with thyroid function. For seniors, especially women, this can be a big issue because the thyroid controls metabolism and energy production. A sluggish thyroid means fatigue, slower recovery, and a harder time maintaining muscle and bone strength. Cooking kale reduces goitrogens, but raw kale salads or smoothies every day can, over time, chip away at your energy levels without you realizing why. The third is corn, and yes, while technically it's a grain, many people treat it like a vegetable. Corn is very high in starch and has a high glycemic index, which means it spikes blood sugar quickly. For anyone over 60, these spikes can lead to energy crashes, increased inflammation, and over time, higher insulin resistance. If you're dealing with joint inflammation or low energy, this constant blood sugar roller coaster is the last thing you need. Plus, corn is also one of the most common sources of mycotoxins and pesticide residues, which can add another layer of stress on the body. Now let's look at why these three in particular can be so problematic for joints and energy. With eggplant and other nightshades, the alkaloids act almost like mild irritants to the body's immune system. They can increase the release of inflammatory chemicals in the joints, especially in people who are genetically predisposed or already have joint wear and tear. Think of it as repeatedly rubbing sandpaper over an already sore spot. Your body stays in a low-grade inflammatory state. With raw kale, the issue is less about inflammation and more about nutrient interference. Goitrogens compete with iodine uptake in the thyroid, slowing hormone production. Since thyroid hormones are critical for maintaining body temperature, energy, and metabolism, even a small slowdown can lead to fatigue, brain fog, and less resilience to stress. And because older adults often already have reduced thyroid output, the impact can be more noticeable. With corn, the main issue is how it disrupts blood sugar stability. Every spike in blood sugar leads to a spike in insulin, which is followed by a dip that leaves you tired and craving more carbs. These fluctuations don't just drain your energy, they also contribute to chronic inflammation. And chronic inflammation is directly linked to joint stiffness, pain, and slower tissue repair. Add in the fact that most commercial corn is genetically modified and heavily sprayed, and you've got a food that delivers more stress to the body than benefit, especially when eaten regularly. The key thing to understand is that none of these vegetables are inherently toxic in the same way poison would be. The problem is how their natural plant compounds and nutrient profiles interact with an aging body that's more sensitive to irritation, nutrient competition, and blood sugar swings. For someone in their 20s with a fast metabolism, resilient joints, and strong digestion, these might be minor issues. But over 60, when joint cartilage is thinner, digestion is slower, and hormone balance is more fragile, those minor issues can have a major impact on how you feel every day. The first vegetable I recommend adding to your routine is lightly cooked spinach. Spinach is loaded with magnesium, potassium, and antioxidants, all of which help relax muscles, reduce joint stiffness, and support healthy blood pressure. The key here is cooking it lightly. This not only reduces oxalates, which can bind calcium, but also makes the magnesium and other minerals more available for your body to use. Magnesium in particular is critical for both joint comfort and steady energy because it helps your muscles contract and relax properly while also stabilizing blood sugar. The second is sweet potatoes. While technically a root vegetable, sweet potatoes are one of the most joint-friendly carb sources you can eat. They're high in beta-carotene, vitamin C, and potassium, nutrients that fight inflammation, support collagen production for healthy cartilage, and maintain fluid balance in your joints. The natural slow digesting starch in sweet potatoes also provides a steady release of energy, avoiding the blood sugar spikes you get from white potatoes or corn. A small serving with your meal can keep you energized for hours without the crash. The third is Brussels sprouts, especially when roasted or steamed. These are rich in vitamin K, vitamin C, and sulforaphane, a compound that helps protect cartilage from damage and reduces inflammatory markers in the body. Vitamin K also plays a big role in directing calcium into your bones and away from your arteries, which is crucial for joint and cardiovascular health as you age. Roasting them brings out a sweeter flavor, making them more enjoyable if you're not usually a fan. Now let's talk about nutrient synergy, because it's not just what you eat, it's how you prepare it and what you pair it with. For example, pairing spinach or Brussels sprouts with a healthy fat like olive oil or avocado increases the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins like A, E, and K. These vitamins are vital for joint repair, anti-inflammatory effects, and protecting the cells in your muscles and connective tissues. Cooking methods matter too. Light steaming or sautéing vegetables helps break down anti-nutrients like oxalates and goitrogens, making it easier for your digestive system to extract minerals and vitamins. Overcooking, on the other hand, can destroy vitamin C and other heat-sensitive nutrients, so aim for a gentle cooking approach. Another simple trick is to combine vitamin C-rich vegetables like sweet potatoes or Brussels sprouts with a source of collagen or gelatin. For example, adding roasted Brussels sprouts to a meal with bone broth or grass-fed gelatin in a side dish. Vitamin C is necessary for collagen synthesis, and collagen is the building block of cartilage, tendons, and ligaments. This combination directly supports the structure and resilience of your joints. Finally, avoid eating these beneficial vegetables alongside large amounts of high sugar or high starch foods, as this can blunt their anti-inflammatory effects. Keep your meals balanced with moderate protein, healthy fats, and plenty of fiber from your vegetables. This ensures a steady release of energy and a hormonal environment that favors repair over inflammation. Making these changes doesn't have to be complicated. In fact, the easiest way to start is by swapping out the problem vegetables for the beneficial ones we just talked about. If you're used to having eggplant in your meals, replace it with lightly cooked spinach. This simple change removes the alkaloids that can irritate your joints and gives you a steady supply of magnesium and potassium to help them move more freely. If raw kale salads are part of your daily routine, switch to steamed Brussels sprouts. You'll still get a nutrient-dense vegetable, but without the goitrogens that can slow down your thyroid. And if corn has been your go-to side dish, swap it for a baked sweet potato. You'll still have a satisfying, slightly sweet flavor, but now it's coming with anti-inflammatory antioxidants and steady energy instead of blood sugar spikes. You can even make this more systematic by planning one swap per week. Week 1, focus on removing eggplant and adding spinach to 2 or 3 meals. Week 2, replace raw kale salads with Brussels sprouts, prepared in a way you enjoy. Week 3, swap corn for sweet potatoes. By spacing it out, you give your taste buds, your digestion, and your joints time to adjust. Over time, these swaps become second nature, and you won't even miss the foods you've replaced. The beauty of this approach is that it doesn't feel restrictive. You're simply trading foods that work against your body for foods that work with it. And because you're giving your body more of the nutrients it needs, you'll start to notice changes beyond your joints and energy. Your digestion may improve, your skin may look healthier, and your mood and focus can get a boost. This is the ripple effect of feeding your body in a way that aligns with its needs after 60. Here's the truth. Joint pain and fatigue are not inevitable parts of aging. Yes, our bodies change as we get older, but much of what we feel is influenced by the daily choices we make, especially the foods we eat. When you give your body the right inputs, you give it the ability to repair, protect, and strengthen itself. And when you remove the foods that subtly undermine your energy and inflame your joints, you create the space for healing and vitality to take over. You don't need a perfect diet to see results. You just need consistent, targeted changes that directly address the challenges your body faces at this stage of life. Think of these swaps as part of your personal maintenance plan. Just like you take care of your home or your car, you take care of your joints, your energy, and your overall health. So here's my challenge for you. Start today. Pick one swap from the list and put it into action in your very next meal. Notice how you feel over the next few days. Then, when you're ready, add the next one. Keep going until all 3 swaps are part of your routine. You might be surprised at how quickly your body responds when you take away the foods that irritate it and replace them with foods that nourish and protect it. If you stick with this for even a few weeks, you'll start to see that better joints and more energy aren't just possible, they're within your control. This isn't about giving up the foods you love forever. It's about choosing the foods that love you back. And when you do, your body will thank you every single day.